Hi all. Good morning, good evening, as per your time zone. I'm Kumkum Sharma from iZenBridge, and I am back again at 7 p.m. IST Friday evening for the open live session with iZenBridge. Warm welcome on the third episode of our session, and I have Mr. Sakit Bansal and Miss Karen Warren with me. Hi Sakit. Hi Karen. Today's conversation is around the coaching. We'll understand the coaching space, what is coaching, what is mentoring, what is training, and how these things are different. And these two professionals will help us to understand these things. If you're watching this from LinkedIn, you can post your questions in the comment section. If you're watching from YouTube, the same thing, you can drop your questions in the comment section. So, Karen, would you like to share something about yourself with our audience?
I'd love to. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I'm based in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and I am what is known as a professional certified coach. We'll explain that a bit later. And have been coaching since 2004. Absolutely passionate about it because of the huge difference it makes. And my experience is in training and development. So I've been in training and development for many years, a leader in an organization doing training and development, so having that team leadership experience as well. And then I've been a coach and a coach trainer and a coach mentor for the last 17 years.
Thank you very much, Karen, for sharing all these things. One thing I just highlight here: Karen has 33 years rich experience in coaching, mentoring space. So thank you very much, Karen, for taking out time for this session with us. And without wasting any time, I just want to jump on my questions because I have a good list of questions. Meanwhile, our audience will also ask questions, so we'll include in between. So guys, feel free to just drop your questions on LinkedIn and YouTube. So, Karen, there's a lot of conversation, lot of discussion on the coaching. So there are different types of coaches and all these things. So just a simple question: what is coaching and how coaching is different from mentoring and training?
Yeah, so coaching is seen as, well, it is more empowering than mentoring and training. So when I am mentoring or training, I would have the subject matter expertise. And so the knowledge base sits with me. When I'm coaching someone, my belief is that they have the knowledge base. And what I want to do is be able to tap into their knowledge base, help them to make new connections, see things in different ways, so that ultimately, and I would call the person I'm coaching a client or a coachee, but ultimately they're a learner. And what I want them to do is to have a great learning process where they learn to empower themselves and be able to use their own knowledge to find their own solutions in order to move forward and achieve their professional and personal goals. So as a mentor, I would have the knowledge that I impart, the same as a trainer. And therefore, my mentee would ask me questions and I would give the answers. But when I'm a coach, I'm asking the questions and asking them for their answers so that they, as I said, can be empowered to learn for themselves and to learn the power of their own potential and be able to draw on that.
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you, Karen. And see, in our space, so just before I start asking question to Karen, Karen is a kind of a course developer and an owner for our ICF based program. So we have the complete coaching program which assists professionals in doing ICF ACC, and Karen is the developer and owner of that segment. So that's the background. So if you aspire to do something around coaching space, so she is going to be your trainer. So we'll talk about that, and that's the whole idea. We invited her so that you can make an informed decision about a particular training program. So that's the background and of today's conversation, which is focused on. Now, what I see in my space, the type of programs we run, we teach project management, the PMP programs, we teach agile coaching and other kind of agile and scrum oriented programs. So what a common thread I see nowadays is the coaching was anyway a desired thing when it comes to agile kind of a leadership. It was always there. But even in the project management space, if I talk about new project management curriculum, it focuses significantly on coaching, and they are always talking about the coaching style of leadership is something is needed from the project managers as well. So that focus I see coming in various credentials and in various leadership kind of curriculum. Now, my question from you, based on your experience, what do you think? What kind of career opportunity one can find or opens up by developing coaching skills, as per your observations?
Yes. So I think that what stands out for me, Saket, is that we can differentiate between the verb of coaching, so it's something I do, versus being a professional coach. So when you look at careers, as a leader, if you want to be a top class, we talk about level 5 mature leadership, coaching is one of the fantastic skills to have, because what it does is it takes the potential of the people from the team that you're leading and improves your ability as a leader to get the best out of them. So that would be what I call the skill of just coaching as a verb. And then if you look at it at being a professional coach, today it is something that most leaders need. They need a professional coach because the environment is tough to work in. It's changing all the time. And if we learn from the sports environment where your top class players, maybe the top, 100,000 players would all have a coach. And the reason they have that is to get the best game out of themselves, to be able to be the best player. And so if we look at that from a leadership perspective, if all leaders take on coaches, they can become the best leader that they can be. So it's relatively new as a profession, although it probably started in the early 80s, but it really has become a real profession in the last 20 years, where you are seeing many people come into this field because of the need for that coaching. And it's not only in the work environment. You can be a life coach, you can be a student coach, and the role is all the same, is to bring out the potential of that person and to maximize it in whatever field that you're coaching. But it can go across the entire spectrum of life. As I say, from being a student, having a coach to get your best results, to someone who's just looking at their life and questioning it, to being someone in a professional environment, even a business owner. So the opportunity for coaches to add value to so many different people in so many different fields is huge. And so, the one side is the leadership, a leader, coaching. The other side is, being a professional coach in various fields. And you could even be in a corporate. So if you go and Google, you'll find many corporates look for full-time coaches that they employ in the environment. Or you could be someone who's external to a corporate who then has your own business, and that you can actually go in to corporates and coach, or to business owners, or even life coaching, etc. So the field is huge and the potential's huge.
Okay, so what I'm getting here is that for a professional, if you are thinking of coaching a skill as a tool to enhance your career, so you can look for two dimensions. One is that you use the coaching as an activity rather than getting titled as a coach. You might be a director title, you might be a leader title, or a manager title, but you use coaching to maximize the potential of your team members. And that helps you in getting things done, that helps you in growing people. And that's the context I see in all the project management literature. When I teach project management program, that's the element they want to add there, that you need to coach your people, along with other things. So that's a one opportunity you see. And then you also see that someone can make a professional career out of coaching things, so where you end up doing coaching as a primary activity of your job. So that's what you do majorly when you perform your responsibility. And that you see that majority of the organizations are looking for coaching way of intervention, or intervening in the performance and the leadership with the help of coach expertise. And you see along with that non-corporate world also, since coaching is all about maximizing the potential, it could be any area of life. It could be studies, it could be the life, and that all possibilities opens up when someone invests in coaching as a skill.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's just such a wide field, and you can Google coaches, and you'll see coaches in every field, because it is a hugely open field. But as you rightly say, you could be both. Maybe you might have a team that you're leading, and you choose to be a coach as well. And so it crosses so many boundaries. And I know that every time that I train people to be coaches or to be leaders taking on a skill of coaching, they will always say, I wish I'd done this sooner, because it has such a positive impact on your life, on the life of the people around you, that, it's just wonderful to be involved in the profession.
So from your explanation, I keep seeing the good correlationship between coaching and leadership, and I just wanted to put it out. So how do you see these two fields are related?
Yeah, so I think the fields are related in terms of the outcome that you're looking for both of them. So, as a leader, we want to get the best out of our people. We want them to perform at their peak. We want them to achieve their goals and the corporate or the company goals. And as a coach coaching someone, that's what I want for them as well. I want them to achieve their maximum potential and to achieve their personal and professional goals. So the outcome we're looking for, whether we're a leader looking for high performance, or whether we're a coach working just with an individual on a personal level, we're looking for that high performance outcome that fundamentally changes them positively.
Okay, so I can what I'm picking up is the goal orientation and the facilitation towards achieving that particular goal, and kind of exposing the barriers which might be coming in between is something which is a common in the coaching and the leadership space. Because leaders are also expected to set that alignment for the whole unit with the help of conversations, and that's why you see a coaching as a good skill for a leader.
And as a leader, you're as good as your people, because they're very often they are producing the results for you. So if you can release the potential for them to be at their maximum performance and enjoying it, because you're building their confidence, you're building their ability to think and be able to get on with things on their own. So, you're helping people to learn, and so they don't have to be reliant on you.
So it's all about the leadership. So if I pick up from your statement, the leaders are expected to create more leaders and reduce dependency on yourself. So you can make them self-sufficient execution unit. And the coaching is all about that. So coaching is all about not becoming dependent on you, helping people to find out their own ways of doing things, and maybe also ensuring alignment along with that. And that's where you see the good correlation between leadership and the coaching.
Yep. I love that. I love that leader's role to create more leaders. Absolutely.
Yeah. Perfect. So see what I feel, and that's the reason behind we bringing up the ICF program in our portfolio. I do see a significant amount of interest as well as value in learning coaching, and this trigger I'm getting based on various body of knowledge. But yeah, we operate in a professional space, so I'm not talking about life coaching and other, but I'm talking about project management and delivery. But we do see, if I talk about a PMP exam or a project management exam nowadays, in each lesson there is a reference to coaching. So there are 5 lessons primarily we talk about to make people ready for exam, and all the 5 lessons has at least 1 or 2 slides talking about coaching way of doing intervention. So that's an important. Now, what do you see, like how the ICF certification? So I think that the acceptance for coaching is becoming more and more by day. But what benefit one can get by going for a proper certification program like ICF?
Yes. So the ICF, so that's the International Coaching Federation, which is the biggest professional body in the world. There are other professional bodies, but that is the biggest one. They're based in New York. And they've worked very hard to make sure that coaching is seen as a profession, so that it's recognized as a proper profession, but also making sure that the right standards are in place, so that when people are trained to be coaches and when they are using coaching, that there is a standard that says that is a minimum requirement. So what the ICF does is they do two main things. Well, I guess three. I'm going to add another one. The quickest one I'll just deal with is they do a lot of research into coaching to make sure that the coaches are learning and growing and that the profession is learning and growing. Then what they do is, in order to make it a profession, is they accredit training programs. So if you want to offer a program that is accredited, you have to meet their stringent requirements to say, my program meets all the requirements of delivery, of assessment, of learning, of empowering the coaches, and really making sure that by the end of the program, you have competent, confident coaches. So they accredit programs to do that, to really make it a profession. You know, if you don't have any qualifications linked to a role, then it's very often not seen as a profession. So they accredit programs to make sure that it's seen as a profession. And then you as an individual, once you've been trained, and you have to then be trained through an accredited program, then you can become certified. So it's a bit like studying, to be a doctor. Once you study to be a doctor, most countries then require you to register to practice as a doctor. And this is the same. So you have your formal training, which says, I've attended accredited coach training, which is recognized by a professional body. Now, I, as an individual, want to be recognized as a profession. And therefore, I go through a process for me as an individual to be certified. So you have accredited learning programs, and then you have the certification of individuals.
Perfect. So what I'm getting is that ICF is investing good amount of energy in evangelizing the coaching as a professional. They do research, they establish coaching as a professional, putting code of ethics, putting competencies, and bringing structure around it. So, okay, this is what should be the boundaries of the coaching, and then create education programs which are aligning with that particular way of looking at coaching. So accrediting coaching education program means validating them. So they ensure a certain set of quality, and then put a process in place by which person can study through those program, pass through some coaching hour calculation and accumulation, and finally go through an online program. And this whole process ensures some kind of a competency development and kind of a credibility that, yes, you know what you are talking about. And that's the benefit of ICF based certification program, because it puts you at a process. Yeah. So that's something I'm picking up. Yeah, I can also see this problem in the leadership space. I think we may not have, as far as I know, I don't know that there is a proper institution for leadership which does all this, because there are so many people doing leadership training and we are confused, so anyone can go for a 2 days, 1 day, 3 days program on leadership and then feel that and remain confused also after that. So it's something I think in a coaching space, the ICF has done, at least the coaching part is pretty much standardized. Good. Yeah. So thank you. Now, the problem which I see again with ICF thing, or a challenge which I see here, the process for an individual to get certified looks pretty complex. So it looks like, you have to do something this and this and this. Can you briefly simplify the process for us?
Yes. So I'll simplify it, and then we can have a look and debate whether it's complex or not. Okay. So the very first thing is you have to have accredited coach training. So they talk about, coach-specific training hours. So you can't have gone on a 2-day leadership program and a do this and a do that, and then you come back and say, okay, now I've got the training. You mentioned competencies earlier on, Saket. So they have 8 coaching competencies, which, interesting, are good skills for leaders: building trust, listening, being present. And so there are these 8 competencies that any program that's accredited has to align with those 8 competencies. So that's the first thing to do. And you are required, if you want to be certified and seen as a professional coach, it's 60 hours you start with. So 60 hours of coach-specific training that you need. And so that would be your first step. Once you've done that, well, then you can start coaching. So you might be internal in an organization and be coaching employees in that organization and leaders, or you might have your own practice that you can coach in, and you can coach across a variety of topics. So you could be that life coach or wellness coach or whatever, or you could be coaching business owners, or you could be coaching corporate leaders or people in corporates. So the first step is your training, coach-specific training hours. Your second step then is to coach and to get that experience. So they're saying until you've got experience and you can show us you've got experience, we're not going to certify you. And then the third thing they ask is mentoring. So we spoke earlier on about the difference between training and mentoring. And so here they give you the whole package. Okay, you've got your training followed by your mentoring, which says find someone who's experienced as a coach and tap into their experience to build your confidence as a coach. So you've got competence through your training, confidence building through your mentoring, and then your practice, which is the coach hours that you have to get. And that is basically it. Once you've got those, okay, then you're ready to do a knowledge assessment. So then they want to just test your knowledge. Have you actually learned? So training, mentoring, practicing being a coach, and then you do an exam. Does that simplify it? Okay?
Yeah, perfect. I just add few things from my understanding, and then you just validate if I am keeping it right, based on what I have been talking to our clients. So it's like there are multiple coaching programs. So that's the first confusion people may get it. So what Karen and I are discussing, we are talking about ACC, that particular one. And I personally believe for people in a professional space, leadership space, generally, that's a good starting point rather than doing something else. So you focus on ACC. And for ACC, you need to have a 60 hours of coach education, a particular path which we support. And the 60 hours of coach education helps you understanding what is coaching. So you may understand it, but when you start doing it, you may get confused. Yeah. So there is a process that you do 100 hours of coaching. So you get it, you get it, what you are doing. And you also start learning from your experiences as you go along. But while doing it, you may struggle. And for struggle, you go for a mentoring along with that. So you have a 10 hours of mentoring, which probably help you in correcting something which you are doing in your practice. So when these 3 things comes together, then you apply for exam. There is an online exam which you can take from home. You need to fill up an application and talk about all these 3 evidences. And once you finish those evidences part, you can take the online assessment. And the assessment is not that complex. Once you get the training right, it's pretty much straightforward. And based on that, you get certified. Yeah, that's the whole process seems to be.
Exactly. So if you're doing a great structured course that gives you the 60 hours, you can tick that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 100 hours might sound like a lot, but for most clients, we coach, between 10 and 20 hours. So what you're really looking for is sort of 5 to 10 clients to get to your 100 hours. And then your mentoring. So you would look for someone who is already certified. So you have to be mentored by someone who's certified. And those are your three components. For me, in going through that certification, the online exam is probably the easiest part,
Yeah.
because it's linked to stuff you can, literally sit down and learn. And as you said, you do it at home. It's an open book assessment. So it's probably the easiest part of the process. Well, the quickest at any rate, because it's sort of a 3-hour assessment. Yeah.
And the assessment is primarily around the coaching competencies. So if you got the coaching competencies right, you got it, the alignment towards your behavior and the coaching competencies right, you know what is coaching and what is not coaching, you are good. You are good with that online assessment. Yeah. So that's something I can also pick up. So just taking a pause, and I know there are a few online on YouTube. So if anyone has a question related to any of our offering, though we are talking more about the coaching offering today, but if you have any query related to any of our offering, please feel free to type the question in the YouTube or in the LinkedIn, wherever you are watching us. So feel free to raise your question. We are here to answer it. Yeah, that's something to clarify. Now, how much time this whole process will take? So we spoke about that you pick up a 60 hours of education, you pick up the experience related to coaching. And I understand some people will be fast. They may wanted to acquire the coaching experience along with the classes and quickly after that. Some may take time. So it's very difficult to predict a one duration. But what is a typical range you see working for this thing?
So probably the minimum would be 6 months. If you take your training, your mentoring has to be done over 3 months. So you've got that. Your training is probably done around about the same sort of 3 months. But it's, you don't even have to wait for your training to be finished. Generally, when the training is about halfway through, you're equipped to start taking clients. And I know with our program, we started in November last year. Kumkum, maybe just give me a thumbs up. I think it was November. And out of our people on that program, some of them have already applied for their ACC. So I would put 6 months. However, in saying the 6 months, you're under no pressure to go ahead and do it. So you could be trained and maybe you decide to take it slow once you train. So your training's, 3 months, and then you decide to slowly build a practice and build up your skills so your training doesn't expire. You can in 5 years' time decide, what, now I'm ready for it. Okay, I've been using this maybe as a leader. I've been using it and now I want to be a coach. Your training doesn't expire. So while the minimum is probably around about 6 months, and as you said, it's quite hard to pin that down, but around about 6 months. But, some people take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And the good news is that, it's a bit like once you've qualified as, I don't know, an architect, you don't lose that qualification. You still have it, whether you practice as an architect or not.
Yeah. So even I can recall when I did my ACC, I think I was the first one to finish it because I was just taking the time. But yes, others also took a little bit more time. Few end up doing. Yeah, there are few, I think they are still figuring out should they do it or not. But yeah, that's also a few may like left behind. So yeah, 6 months to 1 year is a good time range. Don't delay beyond 1 year, so you may lose the interest by that time. Yeah, 6 months is good if you have a clear focus of achieving something. Now, the another thing which I want to ask, by the time we probably get some more question, and I let Kumkum also to explore something. So one question from me, and then I let Kumkum explore her questions. So see, many people are learning, coaching, doing ACC and all, and sometimes it also becomes a kind of a trend. Yeah. So I see many people jumping in. But I also see not everybody can make good use of it. Some exceptionally change their career path and move and do something very different. And some may lose the whole idea of utilizing it and may not renew the certificate also after some time. So in your view, what makes that difference? Like what one should be aware of once you are done with your ACC? How do I make a use of it, or how do I stick to the profession or the practice after getting my ACC certification done?
So I think that, it goes back to when we're coaching people, people have professional and personal goals. And, in my experience is that whoever goes through coach training, it is a life-changing experience in some way. So maybe I go through coaching and I decide the reason I'm going through my program is that I want to be I want to do this full time. And then maybe I get a great job offer and I find myself going into a leadership role. Those skills are never wasted. They are fantastic when you're a leader. They're fantastic for a parent. Okay? They're fantastic for someone who maybe is involved in social activities, maybe a non-profit organization or a charity or something. So I think that when people finish the training, we finish with different personal goals about what we want to do with the training, but it'll never be wasted. It just enhances your life. It enhances the way you engage with people. So whether you're a leader, as I say, a parent, or whether you decide that this is what I want to do, it just adds so much value, so much richness to your relationships and your conversations.
Thank you. So like Karen speaking from her 30 plus years of experience of teaching, mentoring people on coaching. And I can see, I have seen some of the batches, not many, but I have seen some of the groups. And I can say that, yes, some amount of shift happens to each and every individuals. As usual with any program, the quantum of shift might be different for different individuals, but coaching as a skill, many time initial few days, like when we do a classroom program or when we do a live program, after few initial classes, people do find that, okay, what is this? We never thought about it before. How can I really influence without doing too much intervention in person's life or something? How this way of intervention I have never explored. So that kind of I think insight usually comes when people explore the coaching as a activity during the program. That is something I can say. Kumkum, you have something here? Yeah, so to ask.
Yeah, so actually, I just wanted to go back on the last question and just to clarify a few things. My understanding is right or wrong. So once the person is done with the ICF ACC path and the leadership program which iZenBridge is providing, so that contact hour will remain with them throughout the life. So there is no expiry of the contact hours, right?
Mm. Of,
Perfect.
mm.
Yeah. Second thing, just to clarify, the if after the training within a month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm not taking the exam, I can take the exam after a year, 2 years, anytime, right?
Correct. So just, because the training is a choice, okay, what you're going to do with it is a choice. So some people want to get that certification immediately. So now, it's a bit like I've walked away with my certificate. I mean, if you think of people who go to university, many of them take a gap year, so the same, you get your qualification as a coach and you might decide, I'm going to take a gap year from coaching and I'm going to go and do something else for a while. And then you decide to come back to it. So your training, your education is still valid. It's a qualification that you have. Then you might fit your mentoring in. The only thing that has to be quite recent is that third component, which is your practical, your experience as a coach. So when you decide that it's time that you've made a decision that you want to be certified, I was going to use those words again. So we do accredited training. Okay. Now, as an individual, I want to be certified. And Saket spoke about an ACC, which is an Associate Certified Coach. And when I decide that I want to go for it, part of my coaching hours, the actual hours of me coaching people, have to be recent. 25% of them have to be in the last year. But your training could have been 5 years ago. Your mentoring could have been 3 years ago. You might have separated those even out. What they do require is that your practical experience as a coach is recent. And then, of course, once you've got that, then you can apply and you would do the exam in the moment as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing this information. So One more thing I just wanted to understand how a coach, how a professional can decide whether to go for the ACC path or the PCC path.
Okay. So there's actually 3 levels. You can be an ACC, Associate Certified Coach, or a PCC, a Professional Certified Coach, or an MCC, top of the tree, which is a Master Certified Coach. And each of them require a quantity of coach education, a quantity of coach mentoring, and a quantity of coach experience. So I mentioned earlier on that if you want to go for the Associate Certified Coach, you need 60 hours of coach education training, and you need 100 hours of practical experience as a coach, working with your clients. If you want to go straight for the PCC, you would need 125 hours of accredited coach training, and you need 500 hours of experience as a coach. And if you want to get right to that top, okay, then you need 250 hours of coach training and accredited coach training, and you would need 2,500 hours of experience as a coach. And that's what separates those different levels of certification out, is the amount of training and the amount of experience that you've had as a coach.
Thank you very much, Karen, for sharing this. So again, almost similar question I want to ask from Saket also. So tell me, Saket, if I want to become a leader, I want to become a coach. So what do you think, the ACC level or the PCC level, which makes more sense for me?
Yeah, so my opinion, and that's the discussion we explored when I and Karen were exploring our program as well, and even this is something I applied for myself as well. I believe if you want to take coaching as a activity, as a skill, and to add to your consulting and leadership and delivery role, you not necessarily get into too deep into coaching as a profession. Yeah. And it's a choice. It's a choice you are making. So I personally believe, again, there is an opinion, if you are adding coaching as one of the skill rather than the primary focus skill, then ACC is a good thing to do. And if you want to add into coaching space and professionally build up your career around it, then you definitely take PCCs and other thing, because you want to invest more time, more energy, more practice, more learning to enhance your coaching skills. Yeah, credential is the second thing, as well as the skills as well, because in a professional world we do a lot of things. We do consulting, we do delivery orientation, we have many skills to apply to. Just one skill may not be sufficient when we do in a professional space. So that's my advice, and that's how we have been discussing. Yeah. So I see Aditya is asking that can we ask PMP related question here? So yeah, you can ask. If you have any specific question related to PMP, please ask. Yeah, we still have 20 minutes in this conversation. We can talk about anything. Yeah. Yes, so that's the PCC and ACC part. And I think one also need to consider the renewal process, continuously you need to renew as well. So it's just not a one-time thing. It's a continuously keeping your credentials active. So it's a continuous effort. It's just not a one-time effort. Yeah.
And, I think that, so, the training for me is very important. If you're going to do something and you're going to be serious about it, get that training. So, that is really the first step that you want to do. And, maybe some of you on the line are a leader and you're saying, well, yes, I want to coach, but I don't want to be a coach. So that training then will be great for you to really build that skill, which is just such an amazing value add as a leader. Once you start wanting to coach maybe later in your life, then you've got it. So if you do a proper accredited coach training, and then as a leader you're using it, and then as Kumkum said, maybe in 5 years' time or something, you decide, what, I actually love this part of my job. This is something I want to do. If you've done proper accredited training, you've got that behind you already, and you could then have a choice to even change careers. And as a as a professional coach, if you want to be coaching and offering your services as a coach to corporates, you do need to have that proper certified training that allows you, proper accredited training that allows you to be certified. Because when you go and you approach corporates and you want to be a coach within a corporate, they're going to ask you, what training have you done? Was it accredited? Are you certified? So it becomes a necessity for people who want to get into the corporate environment as coaches to make sure that they have got the proper accredited training and that they have been certified. And as Saket was saying, then what happens is that once you are certified, to keep you on your toes as a coach and to keep the profession as something that's growing, you have to continue to learn. So again, somebody on the line might have actually done your 60 hours and you're like, that's fine, I've already got it. However, you do need to do another 40 hours of learning every 3 years. And that's really great as well, because what it does is it opens you're up to different courses. Again, it has to be accredited. So if you want to continue to be certified, I'm sort of in my 6th round or something, which means every 3 years I have to do another 40 hours of accredited training. And so the various accredited programs kind of build on that. And ultimately that it gets you to that level.
Perfect. So we have 2 PMP questions coming in. Thank you, Karen. And we have a coaching related question also coming in. We'll see. But first, I think I take care of the PMP questions. And then we have a one coaching question also here. So PMP question is primarily talking about that, I am not a project manager, but I'm preparing for PMP. And will the PMP will help me in getting the job of a project manager? So see, the idea of PMP certification, the type of job you see, you don't see just a PMP certification qualified project manager. You do see experience attached to it. That's a usual trend. But you not necessarily be labeled as a project manager in the experience, but you should be doing job of project management. So you should be doing project management activities. So, and that's a kind of a precondition for doing PMP certification as well. So one person, like that's a 3 years of project management activities one has to understand. So usually in order to make maximum use of your PMP certification, you need to apply along with your experience of managing projects. Now, sometimes you may be lacking in that experience. You might be having a partial experience of managing project. I have seen doing PMP helps you getting internal opportunities, usually may not be direct job change opportunities, where the organization may start giving more and more opportunities to manage project because you have prepared yourself theoretically, and they also want to help you in sharpening your skill as you go along. So that's the thing. But yes, experience plus certification helps. Just certification, technically you should not be doing it, because 3 years of project management experience is kind of a precondition for it. Yeah, so that's the thing. Now the second question which is coming here is about new PMP exam and PMBOK guide 7th edition. So see, the idea here is I am again kind of, we keep repeating in most of our open hours. So the PMP exam is based on something they call it exam content outline, which has been revised by PMI in the frequently, and in the January 2021 we had a version which has been published. And the PMI nowadays also publish their separate booklet for exam prep, which they provide to their authorized education provider. So enroll to an authorized education provider. The book you get from the authorized education provider on the exam content outline is the only book you probably need for passing and focusing on the exam syllabus or exam content outline. Yes, you need to build the fundamental knowledge in order to understand that book. And for example, in our program, we give them a lot of collection of videos so that they can clarify the theory first. And then we do a live sessions where we clarify various topics related to those areas which are applicable for your PMP exam. And that's how you prepare. You prepare around the exam content outline. Yes, there is a confusion related to PMBOK Guide 7th edition. The PMP exam is not based on PMBOK. It is based on the exam content outline, and the PMI booklet covers the exam content outline. So again, some of the theory may remain same from PMBOK version 2000. I have started seeing PMBOK 2000, which was a second version, and then it became 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the work breakdown structure concept remain exactly the same as it was in the PMBOK version 2000. The Tuckman ladder and norming, forming, storming remains exactly the same as it was in the PMBOK version 2000. So from last 15-20 years, I see more or less a good amount of content remains the same. Yeah, there could be some plus minus and agility getting added here and there. So the exam is based on exam content outline, not a refined version of a PMBOK. So you don't have to worry about it. You just need to get through the proper exam education provider, and they should help you. So if you enroll to our program, we have solved this problem by way of giving you learning material which strengthen your fundamentals, live classes, and good amount of practice questions, which helps you to see how to put a situation based question in and relate your theory with those situation based question and answer them, and successfully finishing your PMP exam. As of now, everybody is getting above target in the since January, whoever is giving exam from our space. So that's the PMP thing. I think I took 2 questions here. Now we have a question, Karen. I'm not very clear exactly what is the intent, but let's see. So what is a business coach and executive coach, and how do we get learning and certification? So I think learning and certification we have already taken care when we are talking about ICF program. If you have just joined in, maybe you want to check out the whole conversation. So it's a simple, you do a 60 hours of education, you focus on practicing coaching, you focus on getting mentored on the coaching space, and then all these 3 things put together may take around 6 months time. Then you go for online assessment and you get certified from ICF. We are talking about a particular certification of ICF, which is called Associate Coach ACC. So ICF ACC, this is the path. So I think this is something we have explained. Maybe you want to talk about a business coach and executive coach?
Yes. So, yeah, and so this is my interpretation, and you might find it differently. But, generally a business coach, we would talk about someone who is coaching someone who has a business. They're a business owner, they're an entrepreneur. That I would see as a business coach. An executive coach is generally in a corporate. So someone who is coaching in a corporate would be known as executive coach. However, these terms are bandied about. So you might find somewhere else where people talk about business coaching versus life coaching, which means someone who has a focus around their work versus a focus around general life. So there are so many labels that we give coaching, but I think the easiest way to look at it is to say, someone who's going through life coaching is really focusing just on themselves personally. Someone who's going through business coaching, and it's easier to understand that there could be a business owner, an entrepreneur, growing a business, and someone who is having executive coaches, someone in a leadership role in a corporate. Probably the easiest to look at it, but they are interchangeable in their own way as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I take few more questions again. So the new question is coming is it okay to say the new PMP is equivalent to the Agile plus old PMP, traditional project management? So I might be saying this in some of our previous videos, and that more or less holds true. The only thing I want to add here is it also adds the people dimensions to it. So the new project management is the Agile plus traditional project management, people focus and business focus. So these 3 things these 4 things comes together, makes a new PMP exam. So what is a people focused? Focus on coaching, mentoring, developing people, facilitating, rather than over directing, scheduling, planning activities, dividing the work into a small pieces and allocating work to the people. That is a traditional way of working with people. So now we have added the new dimension of working with people, which is more a facilitative and coaching in nature. So if you want to understand the new project management mindset, you probably want to learn Agile, you probably want to learn traditional project management and the new way of working with people. Yeah, virtual modes and all. So those all things, virtual working, remote working, all those things are something the new PMP exam talks about. Okay, so we have another question talking about what kind of an analytical tools to measure quality in Agile. See, irrespective of a project life cycle, you want to ensure quality. Yeah, and the quality will be more a characteristic of your product rather than, and the context, rather than just a life cycle oriented thing. So and approach for quality, or I would say the depth of quality analysis, is a function of cost of non-conformance. If you don't conform to quality, what are you going to lose? If you are going to lose significantly, you need to have a very systematic approach to ensure quality. If the losses are recoverable, they are just like 1 or 2 hours of downtime, then you may have a more approach of time, delivery time, satisfying customer need faster, rather than focusing too much of the rightness and working of the product. So we need to see the industry and the product domain. That's the thing we need to focus on. Now, once that is taken care, if I am using agile way of working, which means there is a continuous change, there is a frequent modifications happening, and which make people feel, okay, that may also destabilize my project. So there is also an approach of building quality as a part of your development work. And we use something called definition of done to ensure that each small work we are doing should be done by considering quality and cleanness oriented approach. So we build the quality on a daily basis rather than we postpone it for a later stage. That's an approach. Now, how do I know I have a quality product? You may have some set of measurements. Some set of measurements might be talking about the trend you see in the defects, the type of, you may have some automated tool to check the code quality, or some amount of logics and the performance which you have done in your coding space. So there could be a systematic tools which may generate some report talking about your code quality as well. Yeah, but again, identification of rework, the amount of rework you end up doing because of quality issue, quantifying them always remain one of the possible measurement, irrespective of the life cycle. So that's something I can say here related to tools. Okay, so when do you believe is the right time to give exam? Is it a clear exam? Definitely. I mean, how much preparation I should do for PMP exam? So whenever you start scoring good in your mock test, around 60-70%, depending upon what kind of mock test you available to you. If you are in our program, if you start scoring 60 plus in the mock test, and you know where the 40% wrong answers are going, why you are scoring wrong, then you are ready. Yeah, simple. So you prepare and you take the mock test and you see, you focus on that. That's something is a good preparation. Yeah. And okay, so if you have been doing handling project related work for a while, I think there is a perfect way of doing PMP, and that helps you in establishing your project management credentials. So I'm perfectly I think I like the idea you doing PMP, because you have been doing good part of project management. Maybe you want to establish yourself as a professional project manager with the help of PMP. So that's a perfect thing, Aditya, to do it. Okay, so we have, I think, Karen's questions. Learning and certification are part of executive and business coaching query. So yeah, so do we have some special certification for executive coaching? I'm interpreting this question in this way. I'm not aware of. Karen, if you are aware of any specific certificate for executive coaching?
No, so when you look at the ICF, the way they accredit programs, it's on the 8 competencies, however you decide to use them. So once you've gone through the accredited program, then you can decide, where does your interest lie? Do you want to be an executive coach working in corporates? Do you want to be coaching business owners? You will decide on your niche, or where your interest lies and where you want to focus your activities. But the skills you've got are for coaching, however you decide to use them, whatever niche you decide to go into, whatever industry, whatever age group, whatever title you want to give it, you've got the skills to coach.
Yeah. So the ICF is giving you a water. You may need to add your color to it, and the color you may add later on. So water remains the same. That's the fundamental base of your coaching. And that's the competency part, like building trust, building agreement, managing expectation, ability to ask question, ability to listen, ability to be present in the conversation. So you build that foundational base for your coaching profession, and then you may add your own flavor to it, which might be coming from entrepreneur coaching experience, business coaching experience, life coaching experience. You may add more programs around it, and that's how possibly you can position yourself. And I also see people doing that, people doing some business oriented programs, executive coaching, as well as the entrepreneur coaching space, and they try to create a niche around it. So I think some amount of niche creation might be needed after you do a coaching certification.
And
Yeah.
that depends on your own experience or your own interests. So I'm from a big corporate background, so I love to coach people in corporates, and so would term myself an executive coach. And so I don't have many clients who are not working or who don't want to focus on a sort of a business type of goal that I would work with, but that's my interest. So you bring yourself to coaching and your own experience, and you can decide your niche. But a coach, once you're trained, and you decide that wherever you want to go with it.
Thank you. Thank you
Perfect.
very much, Karen, and thank you, Sakit. So I think this question is asked by Binay, and I spoke to him a few days back, and I think this is the confusion I've seen in many conversations. People are talking about the specific role, like executive coach, business coach, people coach, leader coach. So of course, the competencies are giving us all the tools, everything. Now we have the choice which area we want to pick up. It's like a
Yes.
hotel management will teach you baking, cooking,
Yes.
everything. You have to pick up whether you want to become a baker or cook. So
Yes, exactly. And so that's why we call it the professional coach, because it makes you a professional coach across any field, but it's also got a leadership element to it. So professional coach and leadership. And so maybe you're a single person working on your own. You still need to lead yourself in your business, or maybe you're in a leadership role. So, once you've done that, and that's where mentoring comes in, it can also help you to find your niche as well. And once you start practicing, you'll find it. But you do the professional, coaching and leadership program. It's an accredited program that equips you to be a coach or a great
perfect.
leader.
Wonderful. So we are in the last 3 minutes. So Karen, I just would like to any last minute thoughts or information you would like to share with the audience.
Yeah, I just think that coaching is life changing. I mean, that's my experience. I have trained probably 1,000 people over the last years to either be a leader coaching or to be a professional coach, and it's, as someone said to me once, it's addictive. Once you start it, the results are so amazing that it's there's very few people that I don't know anybody who's regretted going through the training. It's added to their life in some way, whether to their profession as a leader or whether to a whole new world that opens up to become a professional coach. So yeah, have loved it for the years that I've done it, and really enjoy training people as well to have this life-changing experience.
Thank you very much. And I think we have one more question. So, Sagit, would you like to take the last question?
So some set of books. So usually, I believe now the with the PMI material coming in, the word is becoming too dynamic, and going to a book is no more needed. Yeah, even the PMI PMBOK is 50% digital and 50% only in the book format, because things change on a weekly basis. So the content of PMP exam is pretty dynamic. It's difficult to project for next 3 years. So I think better stick to the PMI material and the education provider rather than taking some fixed things. So it's something that's my approach. Yeah. Good. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so wonderful session, and thank you very much again, Karen and Saket, for taking out time for this session. And it was a good combination of coaching and PMP. It was a wonderful discussion. So, guys, the recording will be available on the same link which you're watching it on LinkedIn and or YouTube. Okay, and of course, if you have more questions, you can send me the questions. And again, next Friday, me and Saket will be there to answer all your questions. And of course, we'll miss Karen, and but definitely I'll force her to come and join us again. If you have specific questions around coaching, that would help me to decide the next session date. So do send me details. I think many people are connected with me over the LinkedIn, and my you can write email to sales@izenbridge.com if you have questions. And yeah, stay connected, stay safe, stay inside, and take care of yourself.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thanks for the
Bye.
invite and thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye bye for now.
Bye, Karen. Bye.